Alright, so today we're going to talk about independent and dependent. What do you think of when you hear the word independent? Well, what I think of when I hear the word independent, yes, I think of Beyonce. Independent woman, yes, that is Beyonce. So that's what I think of, right? She's talking about everything. She did it on her own and she bought it on her own. So what do you think of when you hear the word dependent? This is what I think of, a family. You depend on your mom and your dad for everything that you have. Your food, your clothes, your iPads, your iPhones, your video games. So thank your parents. That's what I think of when I think of dependent. Because you depend on them. Alright, so now let's look at how we're going to determine what independent and dependent are. So let's look at this first thing. Temperature during the day and the number of people in the pool. Okay, something's happening here. These are related some way, and we have to figure out how they're related. Okay? So what happens about the temperature during the day? The temperature changes, right? It fluctuates. Now, does the number of people in the pool depend on the temperature, or does the temperature depend on the number of people in the pool? Which one do we have control over? Well, kind of the number of people in the pool, not the temperature. The number of people in the pool depend on the temperature, right? So the independent variable, the one that stands alone, is the temperature, because the temperature goes up, down, and whatever the temperature does, we as people respond to. So the number of people in the pool respond to the temperature during the day, right? So as a sentence, we would write as, oops, wrong thing. As the temperature during the day increases, the number of people in the pool increases. Okay? So that's how you would write a sentence. Now let's talk about how much money you earn and the amount of hours you work in a week. Okay, so think about it. Do you just earn a paycheck? Do you just get money? No. How do you get money? You have to work for it. So the amount of hours is the independent one. If you work 2 hours, then you get 2 hours worth of paycheck. If you work 3 hours, your paycheck goes up. So the more you work, the more money you earn. So the hours you work is the independent. The dependent is the money, because your money depends on how many hours you work, correct? So, as hours worked increases, money you earn increases. So that's how you write that sentence. Your grade and the number of hours you spend studying. Ha ha ha. Your grade, does it depend on the amount of hours you're studying? Or does the amount of hours you study depend on your grade? Well, if I know some of you, you don't start studying until your grade really goes low. So that one might be weird for you. But it's actually study time. Your study time is the independent variable, because your grade depends on how many hours you study. So then your sentence, as your hours studying increases, your grade increases. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Alright, so now let's talk about the number of pets a person owns and the number of books read last year. Let's look at this one. So I read 5 books last year. So does that mean I have 5 pets? So if I read 6 books, does that mean I get less pets or more pets? Or if I have 5 pets, then I read 5 books? Or if I have less pets? What if I have no pets? Do I read no books? Does this one make sense? Oh, where's my little play button? It's gone. Well, no, this one doesn't make sense at all. This one doesn't make sense at all. So there is no independent and dependent. There's no relationship here. There's no relationship here. One doesn't rely on the other. There's no cause and effect. And what I mean by cause and effect, we'll talk about. All right. Why did the last problem not work like the other ones? Well, the other ones had a relationship. They had a relationship. The last one did not, right? So the other ones, there was a cause and there was an effect, right? The cause was the temperature goes up. The effect was more people swam in the pool. The cause was more hours you worked. The effect was more money you make. So this is cause and effect. So which one's which? Well, cause would be independent. And effect would be the dependent variable. All right, so now let's look at this. The number of college classes taken and the amount of free time. Which one is the cause and which one is the effect? Which one of those depends on the other one? So let's look. The cause would be how many college classes you take, right? So if you take 5 college classes, you really don't have a lot of free time. If you take 1 college class, you have more free time. So then the effect of taking more college classes or less college classes affects your free time, right? So the independent variable would be the college classes, and the dependent would be the free time. Your free time depends on how many college classes you take. All right, the length of a word and the position of the letter of the word in the alphabet. Is there a relationship here? So I'm going to leave this one up to you. If there is a relationship here, I want you to write it. Actually, it'll be one of the questions when this pauses for you. Okay? First question will be, is there a relationship? All right, so now these are the power words that you need to look for. Per, each, a, for every, and y is a function of x. Now, it doesn't always have to be y is a function of x. It can be I is a function of t. It can be any letter. What this is telling you is y is dependent on x. Y depends on x. I depends on t. So when we get into graphing later on, we always will know y depends on whatever x is. You need to write this down. Y will always depend on x. Now these power words, we're going to see them. And when you see these power words, these are shortcut words. This is going to tell you exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on in your sentence. So let's look at a couple of examples. Here we have the first one. Pat hikes at an average rate of 4 miles per hour. There's a power word. Per hour. Okay? The number of miles she hikes is viewed as a function of the number of hours she hikes. What is the independent variable? All right. The number of miles, m, is a function of what? Of hours. Right? So m is a function of h. So let's go back here. I said y is a function of x. So I said y depends on x. So that means here m depends on h. M depends on h. Miles depends on hours. So the independent variable is hours. Right there. A plumber charges $40 to make a house call plus $35 an hour. There's a power word. What are the independent and dependent variables? Now let's look at this one. So he charges $40. So no matter what happens, you're going to pay $40 flat when he walks in the door. Plus, you're paying $35 an hour. Whatever follows that power word, and, or per, see here's the per and the hour. This is the independent, just like we said. This is the independent. This is our x for labor. So all of this is going to equal our total cost, right? That's going to equal our total cost. So I'm going to write this the way we see it. Our total cost is $35 an hour plus $40 per labor. Now, this is in a format that we know of. This is our y, This is our x. And what did I tell you? Y always depends on x. So our total cost always depends on x, our hours. So our independent variable is hour, because it's following the n. Hour is independent. Dependent is the total cost. The total cost depends on how many hours the plumber is there. A long-distance telephone company charges $2.95 per month and 18 cents per minute for phone calls. What is the dependent variable quantity in this situation? All right, here we go. $2.95 per month. So we know this is independent. I-N-D-E-P, independent. And 18 cents per minute. This is also independent. Can you have two independent variables? Of course you can. So this plus this is equal to our total cost. So just like the problem above, the total cost depends on how many months and how many minutes we took. So the dependent variable is the total cost. Now, let's look at the last one. The last one is my favorite one, because whenever you have it already written in a formula, you don't even need to read the words. You already know what it is. Here we are, I equals 162 minus W. What happened up here? TC equals 35x plus 40. We said this was Y is dependent on X. So now we know I is dependent on W, right? So what is the variable? That's all we need. Ooh, I'm losing everything. That's all we need to do. What quantity does the dependent? Dependent. This depends on that. This depends on that. Our outcome, our effect, depends on the the input, right? Whatever we input. So, back again. Y depends on X. So if we say Y depends on X, right? We'll just put a popular formula here. Y depends on X. So this is the output, and X is the input. You write this down. Whatever we input for X affects our output. So this depends always on this. Our output always depends on our input. All right, this one you're going to do on your own. The cost of copying a document is a function of the number of pages in the document. In this situation, what is the dependent variable?